So with the reveal of Star and Stripe, I have to say, it feels like My Hero Academia does have a thing for strong, muscular women, and with Season 6, if you're a fan of them, we be eating good, is all I'm saying. I mean, there is a lot to choose from the beginning, and just the insanity that we saw with so many wonderful ladies, to now ending with America coming in with that freedom flight. I mean, it's kind of frightening on one hand, just the fact that you just have this strong, muscular woman literally coming with all these like fighter jets, and I'm like, okay, I mean, it's a good thing seemingly she's on our side, because otherwise we about to have a horrible bombing. But seriously, this was a fantastic season. We already know Season 7 is confirmed. We knew that prior to this episode dropping, but it's still a nice reminder. The very last thing we see in an episode, Season 7's coming, baby, and I'm excited because the beginning of this season didn't waste any time. There was no recap, it just threw us right into the thick of it with Shigaraki and the gang popping off with seemingly an assault that was going to take them by surprise, and obviously we saw how it ultimately went. While this wasn't an episode chock full of action, it did have some pretty fun surprises. I mean, the fact that we go from like, oh, it's 2 months' time, maybe a month's time, yeah, 38 days sounds about right, to casually saying, no, we got 3 days before everything's about to hit the fan. I am not going to be surprised in the slightest if the first episode of Season 7 just does the same thing that Season 6 did, just throws a large group of people into the thick of it, and I wouldn't be complaining at all. But seriously, having Stain come back, I mean, if you compare the intro to his character around the Season 2-3 era, I mean, just compare what he felt like then to what he feels like now. The fact that he actually feels like the guy helping us, which a lot of what he said about how many fake heroes there were definitely came out to turn true. And the fact that All Might has to like quickly transform to show him that like, no, I'm All Might, you've been locked away a while. And if it wasn't for Stain, I really feel like All Might was ready to give up. Never thought we'd see that point, but man, number one fanboy Stain came in clutch with that intel, and Season 7 is gonna be spicy. Now, full live reaction to this final episode of Season 6 is available on my Patreon and previous episodes as well, so if you do want to see any of those, consider supporting the Patreon. And yeah, I mean, this episode, it wasn't action-packed, like I said, but I like the fact that they tease you with a brand new character who I've seen like random images from just social media, so like the name Star and Stripe wasn't a surprise, and I've seen general shots, but I know nothing about her. But in terms of an intro and an introduction, like, yeah, she sold me pretty much right away. But I think the star of this episode was hands down Stain, because I was expecting like maybe a few minutes with him and All Might. I thought maybe it was like, is All Might gonna get kidnapped? Is All Might no longer a true hero given how he currently is? Like, I wasn't sure where they're gonna go, and the fact that we have him basically holding him by sword point, and the last person that All Might saved before retiring is the one who every single day, rain or shine, if someone puts up that sign, someone disrespects the All Might statue, she comes and fixes it. She uses her handy little snowman building ability, and she's right at eye level to clean up the mess. And I think that's exactly what All Might needed to see. And it's not the first time we've seen the flashback to the whole prison escape. We've seen it a few different times now, but I love seeing it from different characters' perspectives, and the fact that our boy, immediately, he's the only person who didn't go out of his way to pick up a weapon from a guard. He literally saw a guard with a gun and a box of some sort, and he went for the box. And I love how, for him, like, that's what he needed to hold on to. He needed to give this information to whoever can use it for just reasons. And I love how Stain was that character, held onto it that entire time, and even before that actually took care of a pretty horrible scumbag by the looks of him. I mean, the way the dude was running, talking about women, and it just felt like a very predatory style person, if you know what I'm saying. Certain words I gotta avoid on YouTube, you gotta understand. But I'm glad he took care of him before obviously grabbing that box and getting the hell out of Dodge, because seriously, I was not expecting Stain. I don't know how much we'll see of him going forward, but nonetheless, it's interesting to really feel like the natural pushback of what he was saying in the early stages of this show, and how over time it felt like what he said had more and more merit and meaning, to have at this point, like literally Best Jeanist, Hawks, Endeavor, All Might be like, I can't believe we're getting intel that might have just saved our lives from the hero killer. And then the hero killer before leaving says, I challenge you to kill me. I've killed like 40 heroes. And like, if you're the pro hero, the true hero, come get me. I mean, it'll be interesting. I would not be opposed in the slightest if any of these characters worked with Stain to fight some baddie next season, but if, you had to introduce him again, this was a very effective way to do so. There's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of doubt about where the heroes can go. I mean, obviously right now it feels like it's getting a little more global. There's obviously the politics side of things, you have to approve the paperwork to send a hero to another country. And they also have to deal with their own problems. They're literally saying that it feels like it's coordinated as if all countries are dealing with the same thing all at once. But you also have heroes clearly like Star and Stripe who's like, yo, I'm going to Japan and I'm gonna go clean up some messes and just doesn't care. So it will be interesting to see the branching out potentially of different heroes coming from different countries and also just what the new formation will look like. I mean, if we rewind to the beginning of this season, we had every hero imaginable with a few stragglers kind of cleaning up the streets need be, and by the end of that entire match, it just felt like we had hardly anything left. And to now see like the potential of new heroes, the fact that she looks very similar to All Might, and I mean, just everything about her. You could probably take a look from the distance and be like, hey, why is All Might flying on some jets up there? And you're like, oh, wait, that's Star and Stripe, what's going on here? I think this was a good episode to end it on. The best stuff was hands down the reveal of a brand new character and Stain, but in terms of just letting Deku decompress and feel like a kid again, yeah, it was goofy, yeah, it was silly, but given what he's been through since the beginning of this season, I mean, I think he probably deserved it. Though I have to admit, maybe sometimes the subtitling was a little off. There's like moments where characters, like, they're in the bathroom, they're at their, like, the bathhouse, right? And literally, it'll be like, hey, here's character's name with quirk hardening, and you have Bakugo basically just, the only reason he's not nude is because of the foamy bubbles around his waist. And I'm like, okay, maybe you could have considered not dropping the subtitles like that, but that's just me and my perverted mind, I guess. Either way, this was a very, very good season. I think I was saying it pretty early on that I think it could be the best My Hero season, and I stick by that. I really feel like just having it start and finish, almost non-stop action, but the best part was that it wasn't just action for the sake of it. There was always a character motivation. There was always a story beat being told alongside that fun action. So even when you have typical like, oh yeah, maybe that shot didn't look too good, or yeah, that freeze frame, is it gonna be ripped apart online? Sure, go ahead. But the overall package of an episode felt like this was what My Hero always captured in us. The wonder, the excitement, the fear. And it really did feel like the best of My Hero, and even if Season 7's arcs can't top what I saw from that miniature Dark Hero arc, or even the whole like trying to take the fight to the villains, I feel like they have a good formula to go off of, and I honestly leave this season very, very excited for the next one. But let me know what you thought, whether you're a manga reader or anime original. Let me know what you thought of My Hero Season 6 down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, also be sure to ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload on the channel, and hey, as I mentioned, we do have full live reactions to this season of My Hero available on my Patreon if you're interested. And while you're there, you can also get a video shoutout. So today we have Stephen Thomas, Shadow Cyber Demon, Brandon J. Wright, and Trell. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.